and so I managed to finish her up, actually with a month to spare, believe it or not. I'm actually doing the review just here after the deadline, just because I've been so busy with other things, other commissions, things like that. So either way, gonna make the 8th deadline so for shipping, but really happy with how she turned out. I have mentioned before, like, I wanted to make a red Sonja for myself, but if I never do, then, you know, I can honestly say, hey, I've made one, and hopefully Mr. Will likes her. So really tried to go for kind of more of a realistic look with the hair. Historically, you know, she's really had that kind of really vibrant red hair, so I tried to add a bunch of tones in there to really kind of give it kind of a natural feel for being as red as it was, but ultimately pretty happy. There's not a ton of articulation because of the hair, but I think this is kind of one of those instances where the sculpt kind of outweighs the articulation in a good way. So ended up not hand sculpting the armor up top. I actually found 2 pieces in my fodder from a different character that I thought looked pretty cool, so ended up doing those, but pretty damn happy with how the symmetry and overall look of the breastplates, or, you know, whatever the hell you want to call them, turned out. But the necklace ended up being loose too, so it kind of moves freely as well. I used a new technique with the kind of the brass and the copper on the armor as well as the sword here. I actually used some of the Tester's model paint and used a sponge and just kind of basically sponged it on after I did the metallic look, and I'm really, really happy with how that turned out. But I'm very happy that Marvel, or I should say Hasbro's, started to reuse the base figure like their older women. You know, it kind of has the older women, Golden Girls, New Marvel Legends. What I meant was their original body type for the women. It was a lot more muscular, a lot more, you know, believable as a superhero. And then the Jocasta figure, which is what she is actually the base of her on, believe it or not, that silver was all painted over that skin tone I did there. So once again, just circling back, I'm very happy they went back to that, because I feel it's much more of an athletic, realistic looking, you know, look for a female superhero, right? All the dudes are all ripped, you know, why can't the women be ripped as well? Not to mention, I like the booty sculpt much better. As you can see, this turned out pretty good. So the reason I didn't put armor back there was that, in general, I'm a guy. What can I say? So very happy how that turned out. That's why she doesn't have armor in the back as well, so to kind of showcase the goods, so to speak. But I did add some battle wounds here and there. As you can kind of see, she's got a little blood on her here and there. Partially that was, you know, for artistic feel. The other part was that I fucked up the paint, right? So I figured what better way to show a, you know, ding in the paint than put a little blood in there and make it look like I did it on purpose, right? So in my current line of work, one of my trainers said you get good at covering up your fuck ups. So there you go. They make them look good. But the knees did something weird. You know, that's kind of, as you can kind of see, this knee bent out, and I really can't get it to go back. But I actually ended up, you know, kind of Frankensteining the Squirrel Girl boots on there, and I'm wondering if that just kind of had something to do with it, if it got off somewhere. But ultimately, she should stand, you know, pretty decently on her own. I did take 2 different the Jocasta figures and actually painted the armor for the legs there. So those were just silver as well. So I basically painted them all black, did the shades of brown, and then went back through the silver on the armor there. So happened to find a holster for the sword on at the flea market of a Lord of the Rings figure. Worked perfectly for the sword that I made for her. And then ultimately just decided to give her that axe as well. So, you know, let her wield 2 weapons. Why not? Maintains most of the articulation. The hip joint's a little bit tight there, but there should be no joint rub. Shouldn't be a big deal as long as Mr. Bailey is careful posing her. I did have one of the knees break, unfortunately, so I had to do some surgery mid-figure, but you kind of get good at doing things like that as well. So I'll just have to let him know, just be very careful when bending the knees. But I really, really like how the boots turned out. Just did kind of a wash over them and then some sponging and a little bit of black, and kind of really turned the Squirrel Girl boots into more of Red Sonja's boots. So one thing that was really kind of cool that I did is I, as far as putting the figure together and back out again, I actually kind of loosened the interior there with a knife. So you can actually easily kind of take off the holster for the sword and then basically pop the top back on, where normally you couldn't really do that without heating it up. So, and it doesn't really affect it. You know, it's not going to fall off or anything. Just so something I kind of learned with this figure, that for the future I can kind of hollow out that hole just a little bit, and it still allows you to kind of pop the torso off if you ever have to do costume changes or take armor, you know, things like that off. So that is pretty much it. I had a ton of fun making her. Like I said, if I never get the chance to actually make another one again, I am very, very happy with how this one turned out. It's a little bit off of some of the styles I've seen with Sonja, and then a little bit of my own artistic interpretation for her as well. Which really means I used some parts at the last minute that I thought I was going to sculpt because I'm way behind on commissions. So anyway, I hope you like her. Check her out on the Fwoosh, on the Summer Swap for 2021 thread, as well as my Instagram at Squall Draven'Z. And then you can also find Mr. Bailey at Token Customs. The figure he made is outstanding. I probably won't get this video posted by then, but he made... shit, I'm getting old. Lisa Drax, something like that. But he just did a phenomenal job. The blue on the figure is just outstanding. I can't wait for y'all to see it. So give him a follow. Check his work out. And Mr. Bailey, I hope you love this. Because if you don't, like I always said, I'll make sure I print that return address nice and clear so you can send her back my way. So had a ton of fun making her. And thanks for watching as always. I appreciate you all. Until next time. See you then.